Good morning. I've got a feeling today will be a lively conversation. It's a big news day, unfortunately. Come on in. Jump right in. We got a lot to talk about. It's my fireplace. Yeah, so people keep telling me I should get further from the screen. I don't know what I should make of that. But I can't read it if I do. Do you have your coffee? So you may have heard the news that President Trump ordered 59 Tomahawk missiles into a Syrian air base in response to the alleged chemical warfare that Assad ordered against his people. Now, if you listened to me yesterday or read my blog yesterday, you know that I'm deeply suspicious that we know everything that can be known about this alleged gas attack, because it doesn't pass my sniff test that Assad would launch it now. You know, it wouldn't surprise me that he's done it in the past. It wouldn't surprise me if he does it in the future. But doing it now certainly would be the worst time to do it, when he's winning. But here's the situation. Let's say the intelligence services tracked the plane that was blamed for dropping the ordnance. Let's say they tracked it all the way back to the Syrian air base that got attacked. What you going to do? If the world thinks that Assad ordered the attack, then that's the reality you're dealing with, right? If the world thinks, if they just think that Assad did it, that's sort of the reality you have to deal with. And knowing that it came from that specific base opened up for Trump an option that I don't think any of us saw even yesterday, because we didn't know that they could trace that plane all the way back and have a high degree of confidence that they knew that that was the plane that did it. I personally don't have a high degree of confidence that that's the plane that did it and that Assad ordered it, but maybe there was a rogue general or a traitor or it could have been somebody in the Air Force who wanted Assad overthrown. You got to figure there's plenty of those, right? But in any event, bold. But in any event, what I blogged this morning is that Trump got essentially what I'd call a free punch. Given that the world believed that Assad had done this attack, it opened up a possibility for a strategic advantage for Trump, and he took it. So whether or not the gas attack was really Assad ordering it sort of doesn't matter, because first of all, we'll never really know, at least not in a way that makes everybody happy. I don't think we'll all know. Maybe, but probably not. But he got these benefits. One of his biggest problems, Trump's, and therefore one of the country's bigger problems, was that a lot of the country believed he was in bed with Russia, or that he was Putin's puppet. After today, is anybody going to think that he's Putin's puppet? Because this is about the most important thing that you could make a decision on, and clearly it did not go the way that Russia wanted it, and Russia's not too pleased about it. So while you weren't looking, he solved for his biggest problem, which is the Russia connection. Now, no matter what happens in terms of finding out somebody on the campaign was talking to somebody in Russia 6 months ago or whatever, it doesn't matter what they find out now. Because the whole point of it was we're worried that Trump is a puppet of Putin. Yeah, we're also worried if they threw the election, but there doesn't seem to be too much evidence that Russia changed the election results. We just care that Trump is not influenced by them, and clearly it would be hard to argue that he is after yesterday. So we got that benefit. He also had hanging over him the claim that he was incompetent. And there's really nothing that helps to fix that problem quite like a successful and limited military action that even many of your opponents are going to say, oh, we hate you, but that made sense. All right, and you're starting to see that, right? We don't like what you did, but that was the right thing to do. Now remember the story arc that I've been telling you about for months now, that he would start out as he's Hitler, and that would fade away because he wouldn't do enough Hitler stuff. And that would turn into, well, he's not Hitler, but he must be incompetent. He's incompetent. There's chaos. He's incompetent. And we're in that phase now. The phase after this, the phase that I think will be clear by the end of the year, is that people will be saying, well, he's not incompetent exactly, but we sure don't like what he's doing. So I think that's the phase that is being foreshadowed at the moment. All right, now at the same time, again, whether or not those gas attacks really came from Assad doesn't matter to these benefits, all right? Simply by solving for Russia, solving for competence a little bit, not a total solution, right? And also setting the table for his negotiations with China over North Korea. These are all good things, and none of them depend on that gas attack being legitimate. You know, we could be completely wrong about the source of the gas attack, and he still gets all these benefits, and he still needed to do what he needed to do, right? Because the world thought Assad did it. So he's got those benefits. He's also got Iran, who's watching this and thinking, this guy doesn't mind lobbing a few tomahawks in the direction of somebody who's not playing along. So maybe they get a little more flexible if he needs to deal with them. You've also got the issue of Trump's safe zones. He wants to put those in Syria. And what is the safest thing you can do for a safe zone? Get rid of the frickin' Syrian Air Force, for one. You know, the fewer of them in the air, the better. He didn't get rid of the Air Force, but he certainly sent a message. Then what about after ISIS gets beaten, which might happen in the next several months? When ISIS is beaten down, the Syrian government is going to have to get flexible about who it allows to remain in the country and under what conditions and all that. And I think they're a little more flexible today than they were yesterday if they want to keep the rest of their military. I think Trump just said, effectively, do you know, let's just remind you, that we can fairly easily destroy an entire segment of your military power, and that was just a Wednesday. All right. And then, of course, Israel is always better off when there are fewer of their adversaries in the air. So degrading the Syrian Air Force is probably a good thing for one of our allies. You know, we wouldn't do it for that purpose, but it had that benefit. Yes, Trump's base is all mad. But here's the thing. Keeping your base happy is essential to getting elected. What matters now is results. He's got 4 years to get results. And he's not governing the country just for the people who voted for him. That's not the deal. He's governing for everybody. And I think you would find him picking up some supporters on the moderate side of the Democrats. His supporters are pissed, but if it stays at this level of conflict, in other words, he doesn't put boots on the ground, he doesn't try to cause regime change, his base will get over it. Most of them, anyway. I think it was a mistake. Now, if it was a mistake, how do you ignore the fact that I listed 7 pretty concrete, hard-to-deny benefits, and the only cost is that some of his own supporters are mad for a little while he picks up other supporters, probably. And there was not really much of a risk here. No Americans died. He literally attacked hardware. He attacked their hardware. I think 7 people died or something, but in the context of that war, unfortunately, that seems like a small number. Isn't this rationalizing after the fact? It is exactly that. Which doesn't mean it's wrong. At first I was skeptical, now I see it. It's a red line for some of his supporters. It's a red line unless it works out, right? What do his supporters want more than limiting refugees? That's sort of the thing they want the most. And if this action gives him some flexibility for his safe zones, then he's cutting off the refugees at the source. So again, if you're looking at one action, this particular action to bomb that airbase, that's not the whole war. In this case, I mean war in terms of strategy, not actual war. The larger play is: are you successful over the course of your 4 years? And he'll probably get Gorsuch in. He has more respect now. The Russian problem might be lifted. Syria is getting a little more flexible. Results are all that's going to matter. His base will come back if he gets results. By the way, so let me tell you how weird my life is. I wake up this morning after knowing about the news last night, and I thought, I better check up on the news. So I go to, CNN, I think I went first. And yes, I do check the other sites, just so I'm not totally caught off guard. But I go to CNN, there was a link there, I think, to the New York Times or something. So I wake up with the intention of reading the news today. And I go to the New York Times, and it turns out I am the frickin' news. Right? I'm reading a story about Syria, and part of the story is about me, and my predictions about it. The gas attack not necessarily being Assads. So, and I look at my, let me check my Google, my analytics page. I couldn't figure out. I checked that before I checked the news, and I thought, what the heck? What's going on with my traffic? It's through the roof. Remember yesterday I was talking about Facebook having sort of a cap on me? That I would get to a certain number of simultaneous users coming to my site from Facebook, and then it would just never get above that level. Well, it's way above that level now. So Facebook is starting to go viral in a small way. It's not big viral, small viral. Yeah, it does look pretty clear that I am shadow banned to some extent. You don't sound happy at all? Well, who could be happy about war? I wouldn't call this war with a capital W, but when you start throwing ordnance down on another country, it's tough to be happy about that. Thoughts on Bannon? Well, I think the Bannon move from, the National Security Council is probably a lot of nothing. My guess is he got in there, did whatever he wanted to do, found out it was sort of a waste of time. He had better things to do. He was happy with the people who were doing that job. He just decided to do other things. It's also possible there was a personality conflict and stuff, but I think he would have stayed if he was useful. There would be no point to stay if he wasn't making a contribution. Don't quote the Bible. I'm just reading your comments. A lot of crazy stuff coming in today. Go on, Bill Maher. That's up to him, not me. I wonder what Bill Maher will say tonight. He is writing his jokes right now, I'll bet. I'm guessing he will not be in favor of this action. Although it'll be interesting. What do you think Bill Maher will say about this limited attack, given that it looks like a lot of people are going to believe that Assad ordered the gas attack? But the thing is that whether Assad ordered it or not, as long as people think he did, it's the same equation. If part of what Trump wants to do is to say that I didn't even put this on my list of benefits. If what Trump wants to say is that the red lines really mean red lines now, then he got what he wanted. Thanks. I'm glad you like my book. I'll have another one. I'm almost done with the first draft. Yeah, I don't think Bill Maher is ever going to get on the Trump train, so to speak. Yeah, the new one's mostly done. Could be my best book. We'll see. This is the point. After you write a first draft of a book, I'm almost done with that. I'm just tweaking some of it. That's the first time you can see if you have something. And I think I've got something really good this time. I think you're going to like it. All right. I'm just reading some of your comments now. Facto non verba. Yeah, I saw Talib's comment. Is that the way to pronounce it? Yes, Trump is speaking louder with actions than words. That's what that little phrase means. That alone doesn't say much, but he certainly gained a lot negotiation-wise. The new book will be called Win Bigly: Persuasion in a World Where Facts Don't Matter. It's not a lie if you believe it yourself. Was I wrong yesterday? I was definitely wrong on that there would be no military action that would be obvious. The part that I didn't know, and I'm not sure I totally believe yet, is that that the military could tell which plane it was and which base it came from. Right? Now, if you had told me yesterday that we could identify that, as opposed to sort of just assuming it was Assad, then I think I might have modified my opinion, because this action looks appropriate now, given the claim of a direct connection with that airbase. So now it looks controlled and reasonable. But what I predicted yesterday is no bombs on Damascus, meaning no regime change. And this doesn't look like regime change action. It looks like just a response to the red line being crossed. And it sets the table for other negotiations. It improves Trump's credibility. It solves his Russian problem. It sort of didn't matter if it was real. Trump got all the benefits as if it had been real. So this is one of those strange situations where reality just didn't matter again. The facts didn't matter. As long as we believed that Assad was behind the attacks, the response is the same. Fake news pays. It does. Yeah, Tillerson is talking about regime change, but within a political context, a negotiated context. Well, everybody wants regime change. That's different than doing it militarily. Yeah, I just saw a little news snippet just before I got on that there was some kind of attack in Sweden. I hope that's not true, but apparently there was some kind of an attack. I just don't know if it's a terrorist attack yet. Has anybody seen that news yet? Is there something happening? Truck mowing down pedestrians. Another truck attack. 3 dead so far. No, I don't see Trump creating a false flag attack for this gas thing. That just doesn't seem realistic. Truck mowed through a crowd. That doesn't sound like anything but a terror attack. People don't want regime change. Some don't. All right. So I think I'll go do something else useful. Yeah, the timing during the Chinese visit was interesting, but I don't think that had anything to do with the real timing decision. Yeah, you have many questions about the Illuminati, and you know, I'm sworn to secrecy. You know, if you know about the Illuminati and you talk, they come after you. So I couldn't really tell you anything important about the Illuminati, but I'll just give you a few things about the Illuminati. Nothing too detailed, just a few things. What? Oh God! Oh God!